So, the other day I went out and on my bike and I took a ride out west of Pottstown. I actually rode out High Street where it becomes a kind of a four-lane 1940s, 50s highway out of town. Past the old supermarket. Someone told me what that was. It's now a Fastener Corporation, I think, with the big, the big sign thing. And I went out to Grosstown Road and, took a left over the railroad tracks and past the bike trail. Bike trail crosses Grosstown. And went down to it's called the Old Reading Pike. So one interesting thing is when you go down the Old Reading Pike and you go toward Reading to the west, it's called the Old Reading Pike. And then right down the road, just a couple of miles, the next sign, it's the Old Philadelphia Pike. So you know how it is. When you're in Paris, the road to Berlin is called the Berlin Road, but when you're in Berlin, it's called the Paris Road, of course. So I went out to show a nice underpass on the Schyukill River Trail. The Schyukill River Trail is the old Pennsylvania Railroad tracks that were built right alongside the Reading Railroad tracks to compete with them to the coal fields going down to Philadelphia. Didn't work out too well because they were identical lines, but they had passenger service just like the Reading, and that the newer Pennsylvania Railroad tracks, which I think there were fewer of. There may have been two tracks probably, or maybe one with sidings, but the Reading was already well established for many, many years, and it had more tracks. But anyhow, the trail is the old Pennsylvania Railroad tracks and their bridges and all their infrastructure. But if you go past Morlanton Village, just past River Bridge Road in Douglasville, you can still see the underpass for the passengers crossing from one side of the tracks to the other. The old station is still standing. It's a house. There are people living in it. I actually talked to a woman on the trail. I was trying to show off what I knew about, this was the station. She said, yeah, I know. I used to live in the house when I was a kid. So then, I go to the bridge, I go to the viaduct, and then I stop in Morlanton Village where there was some activity. On the way home, I stopped at that new little park where Philadelphia, the old Philadelphia Pike, just before it goes under the 422, there's that little park where they plop in the kayaks and stuff to go take the little trip down to Pottstown. And then coming back to town, there was an event at the Pottstown Manor, the John Potts house. They were having a demonstration of cooking and, So that's it. So this is going to be with narration. All right? Okay, so here we are. You see Old Reading Pike. I'm down on Old Reading Pike, which as I ride over to the River Bridge Road is the Old Philadelphia Pike. So I'm going into Morlanton Village with these beautifully restored buildings of one of the founders of Douglasville. I think that was his house. And he had a store attached. You can see the windows for loading the stuff. So as we pass that second big house, we see what appears to be the end of the road. There's the train station, believe it or not. And we're going to pass under the tracks. See the tunnel? So the trail is up above that underpass, the bike trail. And on the right you'll see stairs where the passengers would go up to the station. That's the station there. These people have been working on this house for a long time. It looks very nice. So first it goes under these are the Pennsylvania tracks, and that's the bike trail up above. Of course it's, 23. I don't know when this line was built. I thought it was earlier than this, but it might not have been. There's the steps going up to the Reading side. That would be the Philadelphia bound side of the tracks. So now we're going over the Reading tracks, which you see the tunnel is longer because they had more tracks. So when we leave the tunnel, we go uphill, up this little road here, past these barriers, keep those cars out. I wonder if one time, they let the cars through. As it is now, when you pass underneath, look, those are the railroad rails. As you pass under the bridge, you have to get off your bike because you'll hit your head. It's a little low, but it's probably filled with dirt. So this is where you come out to the Douglasville Hotel and Restaurant. Too bad it's not still a hotel, but it is still a good restaurant to go and get, especially burgers. They have a big rectangular bar. It's a square bar, kind of, that the customers surround it. Oh, look at that. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. And they're really famous for their burgers. There's a big parking lot, which there used to be a station over here for the Reading line. See, now it's Norfolk Southern freight lines, but soon to have passenger service again. There's my pony. So we're going to go back down, return under the tracks, and when you go under the first underpass, you'll see a little trail going up to the right, brings you right up here to the bike trail. So now we're on top of the underpass. We're going to ride down to the viaduct. These beautiful, magnificent viaducts. They're just so great. Over the Schyukill. This one goes over the Schyukill, and there's a little island there in the Schyukill. There's all the flotsam. That's only a year's worth because they cleared it all out last year after many delays. Looking down now downstream, there's a guy down here, and we'll find out later that he's kind of I don't know if he's an official, but it looks like he's taking samples or something. He was actually parked down there. There's a little road I'll show you later. I don't know, is he panning for gold? I don't know. This is just such a beautiful spot. You're way up high. You can see down to the River Bridge. Very nice, very nice. People always stop here. So now we go back to the trail, and when we get to Milton Village, there's a little path that goes down into the village, and we're going to go down to the old Swede's house, Mon Jones, however you spell it. And this is the little compound here of the two houses that the Swedish, he ran like a trading post, and he owned quite a bit of land. So I went in this building here, and there were a couple old coots like me talking about geology. And I asked him, where did the stones come from for these two houses? Because there's no stone around here. And he said, oh, Pine Forge. That's a long way to haul all that stone, huh? But I had heard that before. So now around the side of the other house is the Amateur Archaeology Club. And they dig here, and this old woman here, she's the one who does the real digging, and she's there with her paintbrush, brushing, and her little trowel. And so from here, you can walk down to the Schyukill here at the side of the old covered bridge, and they claim that if you walk upstream a little bit, you can see the footing for the bridge. And this Mon Jones house has a lot of great information scattered around the site. So as we leave the site, back up to the old Philadelphia Road, on the left you'll see a trail going into the woods. It's a little two-track, dirt road. And when I get down to the end at the river, there's the guy's car. You don't usually see cars here. But now we're under the viaduct, which is pretty magnificent when you're underneath it. It's really quite a treasure. The Schyukill River Trail has 3 of these. They could have had 4 going toward Philly, but they rerouted. Somehow they couldn't do that. I think there were active train lines. Look at that, huh? Looks like a chateau on the Loire, huh? So we go back up to the Reading Pike, or Philadelphia Pike, it's called right here. And we're going to ride back toward Pottstown on the Pike, and right before the underpass of the 422. Here's this little park. I can't quite read the sign, but you can. And you go on this nice gravel road, which I love riding on gravel. I love walking on gravel. Takes me back to my childhood on the farm. They had all gravel roads. So we go down here. They built a boat landing for the kayaks. This used to be a private, I don't know, sportsman's club or something. But a year or two ago, I see it became a park, public park. Really nice place to have a picnic. And there they are. They're going to ride down to Pottstown. Takes them, I don't know, an hour or two, depending. So I ride back to the John Potts house, special event this weekend. They have a great curator. You'll see her. She is extremely knowledgeable, open, and communicative. There she is in her colonial garb. That was quite a dress. And she is going to be making a cherry tart. No, a lemon tart, excuse me. No lemons in colonial America, but I guess they got shipped lemons. Must have been quite a treat. So I talked to her for a while. She's really great to talk to. I forget her name. Sue? I forget. And I hadn't had breakfast yet, so I went up to the Metro 100 diner, which you should stop in, if only to see the huge, beautifully clear enlargements of historic photos of Pottstown. And the breakfast was reasonable, and it was good. So that was a nice little trip.